Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? I'm not sure what to think of today's news. One of the things about investing in the Iraqi dinar is the number of times you'll hear content creators complain about our country and how conniving they are. Is tonight going to be any different? Let's get into this. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Miles Franklin. The link will be down below in the description. When you make your purchase, make sure you use promo code PIMPY, P-I-M-P-Y, and they'll take care of you. If you have any additional questions, you can reach us over here at this phone number or over here at this particular email. For all orders over $10,000, reach out by email and we'll make sure that you get a great deal. So come on over to Miles Franklin and add to your precious metal inventory. Let me go ahead and give a little shout out to a new friend. Sam has made a move into the precious metal market, and a very nice one, if I should say so. So congrats to Sam on the purchase you're about to make. Don't forget to reach out to Yar. You can reach her on the number right on my screen there. So a delegation from Kurdistan Regional Government visits Baghdad to address the issues of the budget and salaries. Is it me, or does it seem like this is an issue every single year? And rightfully so. If they're due salaries from the budget, they should be paid. Iraq is reducing its external debt by $1.5 billion. Good. I was wondering why Iraq just didn't pay it all off at one time. I don't believe they have very much. So it's going to be moving from $10.5 billion down to $8.9. That's a nice little chunk taken off. But Iraq might have some bigger problems we need to get into here pretty soon. The Iraqi Council of Ministers decided on Tuesday to reduce the country's external debt by $1.5 billion, which is, I think, what they make per month in oil sales. I'm not even kidding. While taking a number of service and energy-related decisions. So here are some of the things that the committee went over. The study of the Ministry of Planning for projects canceled from loans to discuss the possibility of including them with sources of financing from the federal general budget. Remember, I told you there was an issue, a lot of corruption going on within Iraq. People would submit plans to do a project. They might go as far as to start it and then walk away from it, keeping all the money. And then you would have corrupt politicians signing off saying that the project is complete when it isn't. So there are people within the government that al-Sudani has assigned to go follow up on this stuff and do some kind of audit to get an idea of where they're standing. So some of the money that's in the budget is to complete these projects. And then there's going to be those projects that they just end altogether. The Ministry of Finance audits the existence of any financial obligations that may result from the cancellation of these projects, canceling lagging loans worth just a little over $1 billion, and completing important projects from government funding sources. Canceling borrowing requests worth $5.8 billion for the Bashra water desalination projects, and the suspended train, financing the first project of the regional development budget, and financing the second project by offering it for investment. Redirecting World Bank loans for lagging projects and other surpluses towards the implementation of the vital railway linkage project. Now, I think this part right here is a smart move by al-Sudani because you have such a corrupt government. I think this move is a big move for the Iraqi people. Contracting a global financial consultant to audit and manage external debt in the future. So increasing the amount of the reserves and the total cost of the projects of building 29 schools of different capacity, increasing the total cost of the rain tanker project with the lifting stations, increasing the total cost of the component implementation of the second phase of the development of the university over there in Kut. I'm going to skip down here just a little bit. It says, in the framework of supporting the agriculture sector and peasants, and supporting the national product, the Council of Ministers approved the continued receipt of the local wheat crops in full delivery from the peasants inside and outside the approved plan for the current season. Where'd you get your wheat from? Yeah, you know, the peasants. I just think that's terrible, man. So you can just pause this and read some of these other projects that they got going on. There's something else I've been thinking about since I read the article, so let's just get to it. Two things. This one here, parliamentary finance. Government banks did not comply with Sudani's directives. So Sudani gave him an order and they did not do what he said. Aren't some of those banks owned by the coordinated framework? So members of the Parliamentary Finance Committee confirmed on Monday that the government banks did not comply with the Sudanese directives on the loan interest rate. A lot of the advances and loan money in banks is privately owned, and it does not necessarily have to be bank money, so there is no interest consideration and reduction. He added the simple employee, if he wants to take an advance of 10 million dinars from the bank, he will pay 14 million with the interest rate. Akademi explained that the Parliamentary Finance Committee will host during the coming period the governor of the central bank and bank managers to discuss the mechanisms of granting loans and advances to employees and citizens, noting that the bank do not comply with the directives of the Prime Minister on that the interest rate is decreased and not fixed. Don't worry, Al Sudani, we got early elections coming up possibly, so you better start rallying up the troops that you want to support you. I keep saying he should turn to Sadr because I'm not sure there's anybody else out there that can help him, but at the same time, I'm not sure Sadr wants help. Okay, this is not good, you guys, this here. Like I said, we make videos about the Iraqi dinar and we talk about Iraq, and one of the more common themes amongst us content creators is it's very apparent that the United States screwed over the Iraqi government and the Iraqi citizens with these stupid reasons for war. But the United States dealing with Iraq doesn't just stop there. And this latest move by the United States is something I'd be a little concerned about. Iraq economy faces threat as U.S. closes oil revenue account. Well, why the hell would you do that? Because that account is monitored, audited, and overseen by the United Nations as well as our Federal Reserve. But if you have something conniving or sneaky in your mind, then you make a move that takes away that type of supervision. According to the letter, Iraq maintained this account with the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank, allowing it to receive oil revenues in dollars and utilize them to cover essential expenses in accordance with the agreements with the United States. It's in recent development that has raised concerns over the stability of the Iraqi economy. These are words you don't want to hear. The United States has closed the account through which Iraq collects revenues from its oil sales. This revelation came to light through a letter addressed to the Finance Committee of the Iraqi Parliament. The letter, signed by a deputy governor of the central bank, outlines the closure of the account known as the Development Fund for Iraq, which has been operational since 2003. The DFI, under the supervision and protection of the United Nations and the United States, served as a crucial mechanism for Iraq to collect and manage its oil revenues. According to the letter, Iraq maintained this account with the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank, allowing it to receive oil revenues in dollars and utilize them to cover essential expenses in accordance with the agreements with the United States. However, with this closure of the DFI account, Iraq's oil revenues is now being directed to a new account referred to as Iraq 2. This transition raises concerns amongst experts, including finance and banking specialists, who warned that the protection previously afforded the Iraq's revenue may no longer be guaranteed. The risk that Iraq 2 could be vulnerable to potential interference or manipulation by the United States, posing as a significant threat to the Iraqis' financial stability. I've been trying to reflect on this and try to get an idea of what I think is going on behind the scene. One or two things crossed my mind. Maybe Biden's going to tell Iraq, you know what, you don't need these accounts no more. We're going to go ahead and turn everything over to you. All this is now in your control, which would be good for Iraq and Iraqi people. Well, I won't say so good for Iraqi people because of the government that's in there. Who knows that you could trust them with all that money. But let's just say everything is peaches and cream. It would be a big move on the United States' part to go ahead and turn over all of that money to Iraq, considering the relationship with Iran. The closure of the DFI account and the implications for Iraq's financial security highlight the complex dynamics of international financial relations and the vulnerability of countries reliant on oil revenues. As Iraq navigates these challenges, stakeholders closely monitor developments to assist the impact on the country's economic stability and future prospects. The Sudanese for deputies, the importance of passing laws aimed at improving the investment environment and developing the economy. which is one of the steps that Iraq has to take for the World Trade Organization. So al-Sudani has received a group of members of the House of Representatives. During the meeting, al-Sudani stressed, according to a statement from his office, the importance of integration and coordination between the executive and legislation authorities in order to support the work of the government and its programs, which includes many priorities that concern citizens and state institutions through its focus on service and reform aspects in various fields. The Prime Minister pointed out the importance of proceeding with the adoption of laws aimed to improving the investment environment, developing the economy, and meeting the terms of the reforms adopted by the government in order to strengthen and diversify the resources of the state. What I think is happening is a lot of these laws that they want implemented are affecting the coordinating framework. And that's why there appears to be some kind of schism happening right in their political group. Consideration of early parliamentary election by Iraq Shiite political forces. The coordinated framework, which brings together Iraq Shiite political forces except the Sadr's movement, confirmed on Tuesday that the idea of holding early parliamentary elections is being considered, revealing the objective behind this directive. While we know they want to remove al-Sudani is one of the big things. Framework member al-Masawi told the news the idea of holding early parliamentary elections is being proposed by some factions of the framework, but there are difficulties in achieving it. It requires political consensus as well as early preparation by the Independent High Electoral Commission to ensure the success of this electoral process, and the commission is not prepared for this task. I have a feeling whatever agenda they're talking about, not everybody is aboard. Like I said, there appears to be a schism within the coordinating framework. Al-Masawi explained that the aim of proposing the idea of early elections is to open the door for the return of the Sadr's movement to the political scene, especially since there are undisclosed communications between Sadrist leaders and leaders within the framework. I think the writing is on the wall. If the coordinating framework is going to try to remove al-Sudani, then they're probably going to have to kiss and make good with Sadr and bring him back into the group so that Sadr doesn't team up with al-Sudani. And I don't think that's going to happen because Sadr's still pissed at all the promises that were made by the coordinating framework that they did not keep when he promised to resign and turn the government over to them. Information confirms that Sadr's desire to participate in the upcoming elections, and a recent movement by Sadr himself confirms this, especially after the resumption of the meetings of the Sadr's bloc and the communication with the popular bases. Notably, the Sadr's withdrawal from the political process in August of 2022, after its leader, Sadr, decided to withdraw his deputies from the parliament and subsequently announced his retirement from political work. You know, I said earlier, these coming months in Iraq are definitely going to be entertaining for a whole different reason. It looks like we got a new one to join it. So we'll closely keep an eye on this and see what happens. Anyways, that's it for now. I'll get back at you later. I'm out.